I have no idea about the date, time, or location of this video. All I know is that it's supposedly been uploaded to the deep web because the original uploader didn't want to be tracked by the federal government in retaliation for getting their story out. A large bright blue object is quietly claiming the night sky outside of an apartment complex.
What is this? What is that? It's a one-eyed.
After a while, the sky blob stops in place and begins to expand outwards. Whatever it is, by the end of the video, it seems to take up nearly half of the sky. If this is real, then we probably would have never known any of this had ever happened without the anonymous deep web. If you think you can brave these 15 videos, then you're braver than most. Our first entry has been getting big attention in the Spanish-speaking YouTube community. It's a video of two people performing an exorcism on a girl who clearly looks unwell. There's 2 eggs on this plate. The priestess cracks one egg and it appears perfectly normal, but after rubbing the other egg on the possessed girl's skin, it cracks open to a pure black sludge, which is an extremely creepy sign. But things get even more bizarre as the girl sits up with very dilated eyes and drinks the sludge, which causes her to shake and twitch, and the full video cannot be found on YouTube because it gets even more disturbing. I think only seeing this part of the ordeal is enough to terrify anyone who isn't brave. A YouTuber named Justin Martinez is recording some planes near his house when he notices one of the planes has extremely sporadic flight patterns, almost as if it is stalking the other one. Then this happens out of nowhere. The plane is suddenly scooped up and fully disappears. When you zoom in and slow down, you can see it's probably not a plane, but rather a UFO. It flies up and away from the scene at a high rate of speed. I think this video might be CGI because it does look a little grainy. Other people in the comments section, however, have proposed that it's everything from flying insects to the same thing that took down the Malaysian Flight 370 not too long ago. This list is full of stalkers, and they all seem to have one thing in common. They like to stand still outside people's homes, especially after receiving a note that said, "I'll see you here after 6 p.m. Remember, Mr. Slim." A few hours later, he heard someone or something outside his house. Camera in tow, he peered out his upper window. There was a man standing on the sidewalk below, wearing dark colors and what appeared to be a ski mask. As the boy dropped his camera to the left and then returned again back to the stalker, he found that the man had disappeared. So he did exactly what none of us would do. He raced downstairs to go outside and find the stalker, but the man was nowhere to be found. The boy said that he was starting to get worried and debated whether or not to tell his parents. Most in the comments section agree that he should, while others offer more sage advice. Next time, don't go outside. Ghost investigations are even scarier in another language. In this video posted to YouTube in December of 2018, ghost investigators attempt to infiltrate an abandoned house that we can only guess is haunted. At least it looks that way. While exploring the home, the investigator keeps hearing things moving, debris being unsettled, and from the way he's jerking his camera around, it seems he's sensing movements around him.
2층에
What is in this home with him? The place appears as though someone just picked up and left. It's covered with debris and looks like it was abandoned in a state of chaos. While creeping around some upstairs room, the ghost investigators appear to sense someone or something, and that something grabs a hold of him. It's clear he's struggling with a force in the home. He tussles with it and for a moment is dragged backwards by the force before he escapes, racing out of there like his life depends on it, which it probably does. What is going on in this video? Is there any explanation as to what pulled this ghost investigator backwards? It certainly looks real to me. For fear of knowing, don't answer. After all, I don't think 99% of people could handle the answer.
어딨어? 자신 있으면 나와봐.
Mar5 is a popular vlogger with a channel full of entertaining videos and some creepy ones too. One of his creepy videos has him exploring a haunted abandoned school in his home country of Turkey. The scary things he's caught on tape in this haunted place are no doubt creepy beyond all mention, so I'll let the chilling paranormal evidence speak for itself. A ghost figure, or maybe just a weird person dressed in all black, is in this room and refuses to leave.
네, خلينا down. 네.
Abi bakar mısın?
Selamünaleyküm.
Abi.
I'm not sure if this video of a ghost sighting is real or fake, but I think it could be real because they run out of there faster than any other scary video I've ever analyzed. These contractors find themselves stuck on a roof after their ladder collapses, leaving them stranded 14 feet in the air with no way down. Soon they improvise a safety harness that looks to be little more than some cords haphazardly knotted together. I really doubt this design would realistically hold his weight, but let me know what you think. They are trying to figure out what to do next when they see something in the distance. Watch his feet closely and tell me if he looks like he almost loses his balance at the end.
There's a car! Come on! Hey! Hey!
He carefully lowers himself to the bottom and manages not to break the harness. The harness appears to be very loose at the end and could have come undone at any second. They show the drop at the end and it definitely looks like they were high up enough to cause some serious damage. A Russian YouTuber plays Russian roulette with poltergeists in this paranormal footage, published to YouTube by Dark Ghost in March of 2021. This poltergeist activity was captured by cameras installed in the haunted home, as well as cameras operated by the ghost hunter who was brave enough to enter. The first instance of paranormal activity comes when a camera that he installed in one room captures a cupboard being moved on its own. It scrapes across the floor and comes to a halt in the middle of the room. And after hearing the noise, the ghost hunter enters to see for himself. The room appears empty, but he soon realizes it's not. An entire wardrobe nearly falls directly on him. There is no space behind the wardrobe for someone to have stood and pushed it over, so what caused this heavy furniture to fall? In a state of shock, having barely escaped with his life, the ghost hunter sets up his spirit box to talk with the spirit. It asks him clear as day who he is and why he's here. The spirit tells him that it is dangerous. When he asks what is, she says his occupation. The spirit tells him that the souls of the passed away have heard him. She also notes that they're not all good ones. After a while, she refuses to answer any more questions. When the ghost hunter returns to the room where the cupboard moved and the wardrobe nearly took his life, everything has returned to its place. As he settles in for the night, somehow catching some shut-eye while stretched out on wooden chairs, a spot of light bursts above him, and he springs to his feet. He said that at that point he felt a bitter cold. Once you've nearly had your life taken and feel the temperature drop, it's probably time to pack it in and call it a night. YouTuber Moment Films was digging in his backyard when he came across a hole covered in bricks, so he and his friend continued digging. Peeking in the hole halfway through, the kids see something metal, pipes, and glass bottles. They move brick out of the way. The kid thinks it used to be a dump before being covered up and built over top. One man's trash is another man's treasure, he says. The crew tries to figure out a way to get into the gap safely without hurting themselves. While digging, they find 2 blue glass bottles dating back to 1906 that read Milk of Magnesia. They're able to sit down in the backyard treasurescape after finding a hole with a lid leading to the underground junkyard. Here they sift through a truckload of treasure, including loads of old glass bottles, newspapers from the 1900s, rusted metal odds and ends. When they show a shot from underground, you can see the place was built with a perfectly bricked-in ceiling. The area is pretty expansive. After cleaning all the bottles with soap and water and sorting them out, they claim them as their treasure. Kids, the moral of this story is don't spend all your time indoors. Buried treasure may be hidden right in your own backyard. Have you ever had a night stalker? Andrew J. Neese has. He published this chilling video in May of 2011. The footage is of a man dressed in a black hoodie standing outside his bedroom window. The uploader appears to be located on an upper floor, and the stranger is standing below it in plain view staring up at the window. In the video description, Andrew explains, "In the spots where the audio cuts out, I did that myself because I was telling the 911 lady my name, address, and phone number, and didn't want the personal info online, especially not with this weird guy outside." He tells the 911 operator that the man has been standing there in the alley for about 30 minutes, basically right in the middle of the road just staring at him.
Hi, yeah, there's this guy just like standing outside my window, and he's just like looking up at the window. He's been there for about 30 minutes now.
As many in the comments section have noted, the scene is terrifying. Some suggest to open the window and ask him what he's doing, though I'm not sure if that's a good idea. It is unknown what happened after this recording stopped.
Watch how this ghost is working out. It's moving by itself, just like somebody's sitting there.
This outdoor workout station is moving all by itself, or so it seems. I think someone could be moving it with wires off camera. At the beginning he shows this zoomed in shot, but it's vertical so there is plenty we can't see. I'm not saying this video isn't real, I'm just saying I would be more convinced if he showed the entire street to prove that no one else was around. YouTuber More Wolfie is staying at an Airbnb with some friends. In the rental, he's found a trapdoor which he promised viewers he would investigate. He says he doesn't know what's in it, but he wouldn't be surprised if there were raccoons or coyotes living there. As he's based in LA and they're not uncommon, he first politely knocks on the trapdoor, but unsurprisingly no one answers. Then he pulls the latch and opens the trapdoor. The phone's video goes blurry. A moment later, they open the door again with a clear video and a flashlight. The door reveals a big pile of dirt with a plastic bottle on top and the interior structure of the house walls. "I feel like there's rats and stuff in there," Wolfie says. The woman filming says it's probably haunted. Wolfie considers squeezing into the small space, but after hesitating a bit, he decides against it, suggesting there's probably spiders. He finally steps in and backs out again, explaining the small room appears to go much deeper into the underground of the house. In fact, it appears to be a tunnel. Where does it lead? To the underworld, possibly somewhere creepier than the tunnel itself. Wolfie hasn't explored the tunnel any further, so we don't know its destination. Any intrepid explorers here dare to take on the challenge. A Twitch streamer named Nikki is at the height of her game when her stream ends in a way that absolutely no one in her chat could have predicted.
Whoa! PP back home. What are you doing?
Nikki jumps up to see what's wrong and is greeted with shouting demands. If you can understand what she is trying to say back to them, then please let me know.
P, please PP. Let's get boots.
A strange man briefly comes in and begins ransacking the house for valuables. You would think that's where their plans would end, but apparently the plan was also to force them to go to the bank and make large cash withdrawals. Thankfully, her viewers called the police quickly, and at least one of the assailants was caught on the spot. Still, for just a regular stream, this ending is extremely unexpected. I'm just happy the residents of the home were okay. When you dig into the dark web, you might be terrified by what you find. This creepy footage was posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Calligram. He notes that he originally found it on the dark web without any source information. The cryptic clip shows a boy wandering around in the sand in what appears to be a remote, desolate place. He picks up something off the ground, then walks past a woman in white with long, dark hair. The footage is slightly blurry, so the woman's features are not distinct. After finding whatever he's looking for, the boy picks it up, then walks calmly past the woman, who remains frozen in place. Then the boy races off without further explanation. The boy doesn't appear scared of the woman in the mysterious footage, but maybe that's because he was not alone. If faced with the dare to pass by the woman in white, maybe he was laughing because he got away scot-free, at least this time. If he should dare to pass by her again, he may not be so lucky. This footage, published by Paranormal World in August of 2019, shows a scenic mountain and forest opposite an overpass. After completing a full 360 to take it all in, the camera falls to the cars whizzing past below before returning to the mountain. This time, the mountain isn't the only thing carving out the sky. A Godzilla-like creature peeks out from behind the mountain. At first, one might mistake it for the mountain itself, but it slowly begins to move, voiding that theory. While many in the comments say this is a good edit, some are more concerned by the man's reaction. YouTuber Dap writes, "If there is a Godzilla, you are running, not chewing gum." That's probably true, although other people note that the creature is friendly, so perhaps the cameraman had no need to fear him. Still, seeing a creature the size of a mountain would probably get your heart pumping. Friendly or not. A sewer in Raleigh, North Carolina may hold an alien life form, or may all be a hoax. The video of a pulsating, slimy, brain-looking organism suction cupped to the walls of a sewer was captured and posted to YouTube. In the video, when the light shines over the creature, it recoils against the wall of the sewer, as if in pure and utter agony. The strange pulsating sack looks like it could come straight out of Stranger Things. It looks as though it might start sprouting tentacles and attack unaware passers-by. But don't worry, as with most things, this seeming alien comes with a perfectly viable explanation. Mel Ferris Construction Company lays claim to filming the creature, as they were contracted to do a routine inspection of the pipes of the private sewer system that discharges into the public water system. A spokesperson for the company told Mail Online, "We were asked by our client to inspect the sewer lines, which were built in 1949. Because the sewers are so old, there were many infrastructure issues." She claims the creature is indeed real, but appears a lot bigger on film and isn't actually what it seems. Environmental coordinator of the Raleigh Public Utilities Department, Ed Bouchon, gave a much more realistic explanation, saying that biologists had found that the alien life form was actually not so alien. It was simply a worm colony that had clumped together along a weak spot in the pipe. Although a rare phenomenon, where there is no soil, worms tend to coil around each other instead. They seem to respond to the light from the camera, Bouchon said, adding that it's pretty hot. Still, skeptics cling to the alien life form theory. Do you think this creature is just a pile of worms, or is the Raleigh Public Utilities Department hiding something? Wanda Chance is riding down the road when she sees a stranger who looks out of place. He is wearing a floor-length black cloak and holds his hands in front of him, possibly making a symbol. Wanda is suspicious of him and they drive by again. I think he looks like he might just be a regular teenager, sporting a gothic clothing style and look, but Wanda notices a long and pointy ear at 1 minute and 14 seconds and questions if he is really a person at all. What do you think about this sighting? Sure, it's strange, but is this just a person with an uncommon fashion style for the area, or a visitor from somewhere far off trying their best to fit in? This video of a mysterious creature was published to YouTube by Real Ghost Official 007 in December of 2019. The video, taken in the lot of a gas station, shows a slender, spindly limbed creature standing on two legs. It is momentarily caught by the headlights of a passing vehicle before it darts off, out of sight. It looks somewhat similar to the creature in a TikTok video that's coming up on this list. Perhaps it's of the same mysterious breed. It makes sense to me, but I guess it could be something else altogether. Do you have any other explanations? It's enough to keep me indoor. Kaylin Speaks published this video in 2013. In the description, he writes, "So I wanted to drop a skit, but something paranormal happened in my house last week, and I'm not talking about a little shadow. In the morning, when my family was either out or sleeping, a garbage bin in one of the rooms of my house got thrown out at my dog, and we caught it on camera. This is completely real." Kaylin says this isn't a prank. So let's take a look at what happened.
She'd have to be behind it and hit her with her nose or her paws if she could somehow. But she's not. She's right beside it. And look, she's running. She's hauling out of the office. She's scared. Something...
Kaylin shows the security footage of the downstairs hallway. He says no one was on this first floor at the time. In the clip, the dog runs in, sliding under a hallway table, while a small garbage bin with garbage in it slides in alongside her. Then the dog darts into another room. Kaylin thought initially that the dog had just been greedily eating from the trash, and then suddenly got spooked by something and darted off, knocking the trash bin over and taking it with her for a short distance. Then he explains why he thought differently after reanalyzing the video. He says in order for the bin to be launched that far with such force, the dog would have had to hit it, and in order to hit it, she would have to be behind it, but she was running beside it at the beginning of the clip. The bin is also rolling for an inordinate amount of time, after hitting the wall, for 1 or 2 minutes according to Kaylin, while the dog watches it in fright from the hallway. At some points, the roll of the bin slows, and then it speeds up again. Is there a poltergeist controlling the trash bin? We can only guess. This one is terrifying, as the motive of this person is still unknown. It happened on Thornlie Road. The unidentified woman who posted the video said that her and her father were driving when she spotted the strange shape on the road, and as they approached, she noticed the figure was a human body.
There's literally someone on the road. Yes! No, don't do it, don't do it. It's trying to, no, don't. Lock your doors. Lock your doors!
She knew then that something was wrong. She realized it was not just any human body, but that of a teenage boy. As the vehicle rolled to a halt, the boy in question jumped to his feet and, in a zombie-like stride, approached their vehicle. The woman told her father to drive off. He reversed a bit and then started forward, and the boy approached the woman's window. She said later that had she been alone, she isn't sure how she would have reacted. She believes the boy was hoping to catch someone driving solo so early in the morning, not a pair of people. Somebody could have easily seen him lying there and stopped and got out of the car, and I have no idea what would have happened then, she said. A reminder that you never know what or who is behind you. This short clip will have you looking over your shoulder. The video shows a man entering a small elevator. A ghostly woman enters slightly behind him. You can see her in the mirror, distracted on his phone. The man doesn't seem to notice he has company, but when he turns around, the woman has vanished. He is alone in the lift, or at least appears to be. Those in the comments are dying to know where the phantom stalker went, and whether or not this man made it out of the elevator. I hope he's alright, but it's really not looking like that's the case. Near Miller's Point, South Africa, 3 divers attempt their deep advanced dive on the 3rd of March 2012. They dove off the SAS Good Hope without a care in the world, but soon they'd be praying for their lives. One diver, Doug, suffered a burst eardrum. This made him experience vertigo, and everything under the water started spinning like a top. I had no idea what was up or down, had to focus on another diver to see where I was, Doug writes. Doug then signaled to his friend, Wasim, that he was having trouble, so they swam up a bit. Wasim knocked the diving regulator out of Doug's mouth, which exacerbates the vertigo. When the instructor came to help Doug, Doug says soon after Wasim started panicking, he completely blacked out. Doug and Nikki began to ascend, as Wasim was taken by the instructor. At one point, Wasim tried to break away from the instructor to reach the surface, but the instructor hung onto his fin. One of the only divers who tried to keep calm and carry on was a female diver named Nikki. She did, in fact, manage to calm the others. Wasim doesn't even remember the dive. What was he panicking about? Whatever happened to him on that dive, we can only guess. The Vancouver Paranormal Society investigates a house whose owner has been complaining of strange activity during late hours. They gather in the living room and decide to address the spirit outright. You can hear 2 taps after they try and get its attention.
I'm going to ask you a series of questions.
They next explain the rules of communication and get no response.
Give me a knock for yes or 2 knocks for no.
That means it actually tapped twice to signify no. When they said they were going to ask it a series of questions, not only did it respond, but it somehow knew what it was going to be asked before they even said the question. As if that wasn't weird enough. As soon as they ask the spirit if it used to live here, they get a visual disturbance in front of the pillow that's in the woman's lap.
Did you used to live here?
Somehow the team misses all of these signs and declares the house to be uninhabited by spirits. After watching these instances, however, I beg to differ. Mr. Hammer is a fearless ghost hunter from Saudi Arabia who is always charging forward no matter how scary things get while exploring haunted, abandoned places. He's exploring abandoned houses like usual when he begins to feel like he's being followed. Something's different about this urban exploration. He's not unsure if it's a paranormal encounter he's having, or if a stranger is messing with him. Let's try to make sense of the scary stuff and creepy things happening in this bizarre video. The mysterious figure is what has been following him since he was first outside of the abandoned building. Ironically, a ghost sighting is what Mr. Hammer's after, but a ghost sighting is what he misses in real life. Somehow he does not see a creepy man looking at him from the doorway. Oh well, at least he caught it on tape for our analysis. I think this is more likely a friend of his pretending to make paranormal things happen instead of a real ghost sighting caught on camera. Almost anyone would have seen that mysterious figure in the doorway, especially if they were already on high alert. WWII Vlogs is a YouTuber with a hidden talent that he's only recently begun to share with the world, a skill that he says only takes patience and practice to master. With a burst of mental energy, he can make a can roll towards him. Or maybe he pushed the table to make the can roll forward and yelled to cover up the noise.
No strings whatsoever. As you can tell, see? Nothing attached to it. No magnets inside. So you can see I'm shaking it around, no magnets.
I personally think it might have been the latter, but watch again and tell me what you see. Next, he makes the object fall over without touching it. There could be a fishing wire in his hand, but if so, it should show up easily against his black clothes, and it does not, at least not as far as I can tell. He definitely doesn't push on the table this time either. Still, if he could have made the object fall the other way, then it would show he was not using a fishing wire once and for all. I don't know about you, but at this point I'm still uncertain. So I guess people must have been saying he was using a string, because in the next video he holds his hands out to show he is not using one at all. However, as one commenter pointed out, he could have a string wrapped around his toe or something. It does kind of look like he might be moving his foot, but it's hard to say. But when he shows the cup without any hesitation, it makes what he says seem kind of legit.
Now just make sure that there isn't any strings or anything involved, look. I'll use my shirt.
I don't really analyze many videos like this because I don't necessarily believe in them, but vlogs like this are enough to make me wonder. Give me your thoughts about this subject and tell me if you think this is fake or if he's able to somehow move objects through sheer will. A reminder that you never know what or who is behind you. This short clip will have you looking over your shoulder. The video shows a man entering a small elevator. A ghostly woman enters slightly behind him. You can see her in the mirror, distracted on his phone. The man doesn't seem to notice he has company, but when he turns around, the woman has vanished. He is alone in the lift, or at least appears to be. Those in the comments are dying to know where the phantom stalker went, and whether or not this man made it out of the elevator. I hope he's alright, but it's really not looking like that's the case. A YouTuber named The Maniac sets out with his cousin to explore the back roads of Maine. Within 5 minutes a vehicle pulls up, and somebody gets out while pointing at the ground. He doesn't identify himself, and he certainly isn't a police officer, so I think the maniac was in the right to try and get away. I will admit that they were going pretty fast earlier, so maybe that's why this person was so upset. Anyway, approximately 2 minutes later, they see him again, but he is already turning with a car behind him and unable to swing back around. This time the maniac speeds by him for a final look, and sure enough, the man is wearing the same gray shirt and watch as before. The maniac speeds off again before the man has a chance to get out of his car and try and make another attempt to stop him. You might want to avoid this forest because it's apparently home to brain-hungry zombies. Published by Adient in October of 2021. A man appears completely lost in the thick foliage of a forest at night. As he's walking, a terrifying noise is heard. He continues, periodically calling out to whatever awaits him in the dense trees.
Hello? Nang? Oi! Nang, sorry!
That's when he sees this.
Hey!
Something lying in the dirt crawls out, obviously to feast upon his brains. The man turns around and races out of the forest in fear. At one point, he is knocked to the ground. He looks around, whimpering in the darkness, but doesn't see anything around him. Did the zombie give up, or is he on the verge of an ambush? Published by Colbean Ari in January of 2009. The description claims that this lost tape was discovered and shown with permission from the government to warn others. The tape features some teenage boys going to explore their school's basement. As they say, strange noises have been heard coming from the basement. An urban legend has it that a former student dwells there. Soon they would discover the truth. After the boys wander around in the semi-darkness, they hear a rasping breath of an inhuman creature, and then they see it. The creature on all fours attacks. The boys flee, but the footage rolls on. What could it be? A true beast or a student film gone horribly wrong? Wild animals can be incredibly dangerous, even animals that look as slow and non-menacing as moose are. YouTuber Azeroth6390 discovered that in June of 2007 when he published this video writing, "My dad and my grandfather were trying to chase a moose into the forest because it was in a village scaring people. What happened next? Well, see for yourself. The moose is wandering in the forest, and you can see a man and his dog head towards it. The shot cuts to 3 moose running along next to a home, presumably being chased off by someone, while a dog nearby the man filming starts barking. That's when one of the moose has had enough. He clambers through the trees towards the dog, and the man filming the man lets out a crazy bellow, so the moose thinks better of it. Also, he seems to be having a tough time getting through the thick bramble. The moose retreats, and the man filming says, "She tried to get us," in his native language. Moose can be very dangerous in terms of behavior. They're not as aggressive as bears, but their population size means you are more likely to be injured by one than you are by any bear. According to how stuff works in Alaska alone, moose outnumber bears nearly 3 to 1, wounding around 5 to 10 people in the state annually. That's more than grizzly bear and black bear attacks combined. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to feel the power of the weight behind those antlers. Bernie DMJ1 is deleting security cam videos off his Ring app when he sees something really bizarre walk across his driveway. Or rather, it's what he doesn't see, the presence of a reflection but the lack of a body to cause it. A shadow passes in front of the car and yet no one can be seen. He says this is a ghost or a shadow figure sighting for certain, but I'd like to offer a non-paranormal explanation. Maybe this is the shadow of someone across the street. This is the last thing you would want to see in the middle of the road at night. Published to YouTube by Christian Garcia in October of 2017. This clip is titled "Witch on the Road." The footage shows a motorcyclist driving on dirt roads in the middle of the night. After a time, he comes across a person sitting on the side of the road in the darkness. The person is wearing blue pants, a white shirt, and has gray hair. She doesn't look up, even with the headlights of the motorcycle spotlighting her. The cyclist takes off, but then decides to turn around again. They approach the witch, say hello, and ask what her name is. When they receive no real response,
Hola, señora.
They drive off into the night, leaving this person, or witch as they say, in the darkness on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere. What would you do in just such a situation? YouTuber Mario Batanker2 writes in the comments, "Ghost or non-ghost, it's always a little disquieting if not disturbing. A being in a place so far dark and alone. I think this video generates more sensations than many super elaborate videos that come up in such situations. What sensations do you feel? I feel terrified." Time to break out the sage again. Posted to TikTok by WWII, this Ring security footage was captured at around 9:30 p.m. in March of 2022. The video shows the front porch of a home. After a moment, a dark shadow moves across the camera. The shadow reappears several times over the course of a minute. Several bugs appear in the clip, but they are clear. Nothing looks like this shadow. The uploader says their dog was also growling in the room at the time this video was captured. Did it sense something? Some in the comments think so, with Carolyn Mulhall writing, "Pets know, better start praying." And it's true that many people swear that pets seem to have an easier time seeing the paranormal than humans. It's said that on this battlefield, the ghosts of soldiers still roam. Published by Dark 3 in July of 2019, a man is exploring a region where hostilities took many lives. The tree-heavy area features a couple of towers and a brick wall dividing them. Despite the rather average-looking landscape, the cameraman says strange things are often observed here. After zooming in on the tower, the camera scans the tower from the top to the ground, which is covered by brush and trees. It is behind one of these trees that he captures a glimpse of a strange creature. It's hard to tell what this is. It looks hauntingly like an unearthly figure crouched down almost out of view. Its coloring does not blend with its surroundings, making me think there's a good chance this could be CGI, and that appears this is the case. So I guess that explains what this thing is doing here, because it certainly doesn't look of this world. YouTuber Chuck's Paranormal Adventures posted this video in 2016 of the family dog Emily. In the description of the video, Chuck notes that Emily often stays in the kitchen, waiting for scraps of food without a worry in the world. But some days, she avoids some areas of the kitchen or won't even come in. Then, in Chuck's own words, on September 12th, as I sat down to have a snack in the kitchen, the dog was having one of those skittish moments, and I had my phone nearby so I could record it. Since I am a paranormal investigator, from time to time, we've had visitors in the house, not by invite I assure you, I believe looking for help in crossing over. But that is another story for another day. Chuck tosses the dog some food to eat, but Emily won't come near enough to the food to eat it. The chips remain on the floor, but Emily, looking around a chair, refuses to get them. However, when Chuck puts some chips in the dog's bowl, Emily eats them all up in a second. So it's clear that the dog loves chips. What's not so clear is why she's too afraid to go and get the ones set out for her on the floor as a special treat. Once she's finished the chips in the bowl, she starts walking towards those on the floor. She comes very near them, but then, as if frightened by something, backs away. She goes back to her dog bowl to see if there are any more, and then looks back at the floor chips, and then she backs away further. She even goes around to another door to the dining room and attempts to approach on the other side of the chips, but she can't convince herself to go anywhere near them. She sits in the hallway and re-enters through the other side. Then, as the owner approaches the very spot the dog won't approach, the phone's camera shuts off. Coincidence? Chuck wonders. Maybe, maybe not. The following day, Chuck records Emily visiting the same spot she'd avoided the day previously. She is no longer afraid to eat the chips there.
Same spot as yesterday. Okay, paused it a second to get some chips. And now there's the spot that was yesterday. I'm going to put the chips down and see, there's the dog in the spot where she refused to go to yesterday, having the little chips.
So what's going on? Chuck wonders if the spirit of an old pet was guarding the chips, as Emily used to approach their old beagle in this same cautious manner. They also sometimes hear a dog collar clank in the middle of the night, which couldn't be Emily's since they remove it before bedtime. Whatever the case, here's hoping the spirit isn't something much more sinister. While most hospitals have some stories to tell, I'm guessing a World War II hospital has even more grisly ones on the docket. In this video, published by Subi in November of 2017, he and his friends explore an abandoned World War II hospital in Milton Keynes. For some reason, they chose the dead of night for their exploration, so straight off the mark, the hospital looks scary, simply because it's cloaked in darkness. The only guiding light is the beam from Subi's flashlight. The crew enters in through a broken window. The pair have apparently been in the hospital before because one of them says he's not going down a certain direction because that's where they hear things all the time. At one point they stop to listen because they both say they've heard something. It isn't clear what they've heard, but they continue on regardless. It sounds as if there's loads of glass on the ground as they walk through the building, cracking and breaking the shards beneath their boots. While the hospital doesn't turn up anything truly mind-blowing, the idea that World War II patients were once brought here conjures up images of scary times, or maybe that's just my imagination. What lurks in your alley in the middle of the night? This video may surprise you. Published to YouTube by Tasklock in March of 2021, the security footage was recorded on the 30th of December 2020 at around 4 in the morning. An empty road with a few motorcycles and bicycles parked along each side, still in the darkness, at least for the moment. Suddenly, someone invisible decides to take this bike out for a spin. The motorcycle abruptly pulls out into the road, turning in place. At one point, it slows in its turning, then jerks forward and continues in its path before falling over on the side in the middle of the road. Could this just be something mechanical malfunctioning in the bike? Or did a ghost realize he didn't have enough momentum mid-launch? A TikToker named Mark Anthony catches this strange activity at a post office after hours. Some kind of hanging display swings all by itself while an identical display stays still. I think it could just be blowing under an AC vent, but then again, in the very beginning you can see all of the other wall displays in the other doors stay still, so it is weird that out of all of these, only one moves. This drone video, taken a couple hours away from Area 51 in Utah, depicts a small cylinder that could possibly be a UFO as it brushes by in a burst of speed. The fast disc approaches at a vertical angle before flipping over and passing the drone on a horizontal axis. This video could be CGI because the drone does not shake at all as it rushes by at a very high rate of speed, or it could be some kind of military application that we were never meant to see. Despite that concern, everything else in this raw footage seems very authentic. Of course, the final possibility that no one wants to accept is that this flying saucer could be from another planet. Let's head to a natural pool in Hawaii, officially called the Queen's Bath and unofficially called the Pool of Death. This natural pool is deceiving. The pool is ringed with rocks on 3 sides and water on the 4th. 1 minute it appears to be a calm, peaceful swimming hole where amateur swimmers can enjoy a harmless swim. The next, you realize the Queen's Bath is actually a tidal sinkhole in which terrifyingly violent waves churn sporadically to pull swimmers under. In this clip, 3 daredevils decide to tempt their fates in the Pool of Death, with 2 of them jumping in a flip dive off the rock into the relatively calm waters. Once the swimmers are out of Death's grasp, gathering their bearings, they learn the pool is not finished with them. The swelling water soon steals them into its depths again, and their friend launches in after them. The foaming sea thrashes inside the pool, while the men try to stay above board so that they don't drown. As they struggle to do so, they attempt to keep closer to each other, but the deadly pool is not having it. It tosses them around like they're 3 pieces of clothing in a washing machine.
You gotta be kidding me!
Just when you think that they may be goners, the water levels calm again, and the daredevils no longer wish to test their fates as they climb out of the Pool of Death as fast as they can, although they escaped the deadly grip this time. If they chose to swim in Queen's Bath again, they may not be so lucky. Randy Doss claims to live in a haunted house and offers this video evidence for proof.
I dare you to slam that door.
They start recording this video after the door opens all by itself, at which point they try to get the spirit to do something else, and with that said, the ghost seemingly takes up the challenge. Watch the crack in the door and you'll see there's absolutely nobody on the other side.
No.
Just for the record, it's only Nick and I here.
Just when the door almost slams shut, this happens.
Oh my god, no! Oh my god!
Whoa.
The obvious answer is that there is a child standing on the other side of the door, but look again. There appears to be nothing more than an empty sleeve, and more importantly, it doesn't make contact with the door at all. This makes me think that whatever forced the door open could have also rustled the nearby jacket too. A YouTube channel called Rick Now TV posted this while traveling across the European countryside. He is recording a dreary meadow from a train when he spots an oversized figure standing at a distance in the fog. The fog creature looks like a silhouette and is gone within the short time it takes him to zoom in and refocus, but in the instant it's there. You can see that it is about the same height as a nearby tree and large well. Rick Now TV suspects that this is a ghost, but perhaps it's further evidence of Slenderman, the elusive tall and dark creature who is said to be able to change its shape, size, and appearance at will. A YouTuber named Sunny Cooper has recorded a shadow moving back and forth that looks out of place. Maybe together we can figure out what this strange shadow belongs to. It starts out going one direction, then it comes back the other way. It almost looks like a rat or a small animal of some sort, but that still doesn't explain how it appears to instantly teleport across a large gap twice. I guess this could just be some sort of time-lapse editing, but something about the way the shadow moves looks like it was recorded in real time. Let me know if you have any explanation for what's happening here. A Saudi Arabian ghost hunter known only as Hai claims to have caught a real jinn on camera while exploring an abandoned house that he knows is haunted. I can't tell if this is a gap in the curtains or a ghost in the window. He presses onwards and reaches the second floor before things get beyond creepy.
في حد؟
Something paranormal is making movements.
Bismillah.
And staying one step ahead of the paranormal explorer at all times.
Bismillah, Bismillah الذي لا يضر مع اسمه شيء.
The excited ghost hunter runs from room to room trying to keep up, praying for strength all the while. As the ghost apparently runs into a tall cabinet, I can't help but wonder if it's just as afraid as he is.
Bismillah!
Cornered and with nowhere to go, the spirit finally has to rely on its supernatural defenses to get out of there quickly.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. A'udhu billah min ash-shaytan ar-rajim. 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 Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
Scary noises are heard all around, doors shutting, cabinets opening, and soon a strange and bizarre paranormal mist floods the room. It's hard to say if this was real paranormal activity or dust kicked up from him throwing objects everywhere, but I think it's probably real and most certainly is creepy. This video was taken near the Pearl Tower in Shanghai, China. The forecast is clearly cloudy and thunder can be heard in the distance. It appears people began recording when they saw someone who appears to be levitating or hanging off the tower. Suddenly, there's a surge of lightning, and it appears this person acts as a lightning rod because he's shocked numerous times by the lightning. But the man is fine and stays suspended in midair. I couldn't find any additional information on the incident, so it appears we'll never know what happened to this individual beyond the recording of this video. If this video is real. Two friends are walking around the haunted Matlock Cemetery in Iowa when they see something possibly watching them from afar, a white head that's barely visible behind a tree.
This is scary. Did you see that? Oh my god! What? Did you see that? What was that?
They aren't sure what it is until they go up to the tree. It was behind and get a closer look, or should I say it gets a closer look at them.
Oh my god, what the was that? Oh!
Here it is again, a man wearing baggy clothes and a possibly white mask, though his face is too blurry to tell. I don't know if this was a maintenance worker, one of their friends, or a genuine creeper looking to do them harm, but I do think they made the right choice getting out of there, and I hope for their sakes they never went back. Have you ever met a ghost on a cruise ship? Well, here's your chance. Published on July 25th, 2010 by YouTuber Jim Van Eekhout, this video allegedly captures the wails of the Queen Mary pool ghost. The retired ocean liner was active from the 27th of May 1936 to the 31st of October 1967 on the North Atlantic. According to some, the ship is haunted, and regular ghost tours visit the Queen in the wee hours of the morning to witness the supernatural. Not only that, but the historic treasure now operates as a museum, hotel, restaurant, and all-in-one tourist destination. While it may seem like the ghost stuff was just tacked on for the charm of it, some claim that a murder actually did occur on the ship in one of the staterooms, and the victim's ghost is said to haunt that room till this day. One of these tales seems to be that of a baby named Jackie, who lurks near Queen Mary's pool. According to the uploader, there were no children in the tour group, which set out at 1 a.m., but listen closely. You hear that? It's a baby crying. The black and white video is creepy enough, with the empty deserted pool below and the crowd standing around with blank faces, but then you hear that eerie wailing of an infant, followed by the humming of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. It's enough to send chills up your spine. Although the humming is credited to one of the investigators, the baby's cries are credited to the ghost of Jackie, which leaves us wondering, what happened to baby Jackie, and why do her cries remain here? Word of warning, always welcome ghouls to the party. If you don't, they will come a haunting. Published by Oliver Fear, this clip's original source is unknown, but believed to be from TikTok. The video shows a party gathered around a swimming pool. As the camera pans around the pool, capturing all the fun, a sullen figure of a young girl dressed in white is seen standing in the grass to the side. When the camera pans back, the creepy ghost girl is gone. Did she abandon the party? Or is she closer than you think? This video shows evidence of the terrifying unknown, as strange lights were captured in the Tokyo sky on June 26, 2020. Some suggest the lights are not those of unidentified flying devices, but rather of Starlink, SpaceX's satellite constellation, which is being built with the aim to provide nearly worldwide internet access by 2022. These low Earth orbit satellites are mass-produced and work with ground transceivers. Could that be nothing but a project by Elon Musk? Others suggest it's simply air traffic approaching the airport. Redditor Bacon for Life writes, "Well, it is spooky when there's a bit of a traffic jam to come into the airport. Aircraft turn their landing lights on quite high and far out so that it's easy for the tower to identify each of them. Still a good spooky video though. Do you agree with these assertions? Or is this just another thing they don't want us to see?" The Borgwanet House, built in 1876 in Sweden, is said to be one of the most haunted places in the world. Scratching, knocking, and screaming comes from the walls, not to mention shadow figures and objects moved by a ghost. The first reports of paranormal activity were in 1927, and they've continued ever since. Dima Maslenikov wants to document any and all paranormal activity on camera. It does not take long. The house is still when he hears a weird noise. It sounds like an EVP of a distant scream. He gets up and looks in the room. Two knocks, both coming from this door. He sets up a toy for a ghost to play with that also has a motion sensor.
Честно говоря, вот про эту комнату я толком ничего не знаю. И про нее, по-моему...
Not only does the motion detector fall off, it continues to stay on for a full 3 seconds. When he turns around, something was in the room with him, a paranormal entity. There wasn't anyone in the room. The bear falls over on its own. Next, he finds an infamous old rocking chair that's said to be the center of a lot of paranormal activity. He takes a flash Polaroid and notices a large dark shadow hanging over it, a shadow that does not look like it was cast by the chair because it's in front. He tries to recreate the lighting conditions and is unable to make the same round shadow appear. No matter how many pictures he takes, it never comes close to being like this one. This does seem to indicate that it's a shadow figure caught on camera in the first photo. The investigator summons his courage and goes exploring the second floor of the WWII house. As he's watching the ceiling light moving by itself, a ghost pushes him. Watch for the camera blur as it walks by. That's when he notices a heavy piece of furniture has been pushed in front of a door. Someone was trying to keep something from getting out of its room. He moves the barricade and looks inside. It's an attic space with a small table for someone small to eat at by themselves. The space is empty. Whatever they were trying to keep inside has already left, so the legend spoke of shadow people, screaming and knocking from the walls, and objects moving by themselves. It's hard to believe it, but he really does seem to have encountered all of the creepy stuff in one visit, and it all somehow seems real. Here's a video that shows how Randonautica can be scary without even trying. A YouTuber named Nolan goes randonauting with his friends in search of the color orange. The app takes them to 2 orange cones, no problem.
You see that?
Cones. Orange cones.
No way.
They are weirded out but not entirely convinced, so they decide to go randonauting for something more obscure that would be creepier to find, like the number 4.
So we're doing a number?
Yeah, okay. So
4.
Not only do they find the number 4 prominently etched into a concrete handrail, but get this, the location that's given to them to find the number 4
It's 4 minutes away?
is exactly 4 minutes away. Now they are getting creeped out and concentrate on a color that's hard to find in the countryside at night. The color blue. Not only does Randonautica take them to a pack of blue gum, when they go back to their car, they find out they were parked by an empty energy drink with blue lettering this whole time. A YouTuber named CTV911 is on his way to see the new Star Wars movie when the crowded mall elevator abruptly stops, leaving him stuck with other worried passengers. I can't exactly tell for sure, but I think one of them might be trying to force the doors open here, maybe to get more air into the elevator. Watch this part and let me know what you think they are trying to tell him not to do.
Hey, anybody up there? It's getting unbearably hot in here.
Have you tried the phone again to let them know someone's going down?
I could only imagine what would have happened if he had managed to actually get the doors open. After about 9 minutes, one of the passengers breaks down and has a full-blown panic attack.
You don't have a medicine at all?
Coming out with a surgery.
It isn't until 40 minutes later that help finally arrives. Firefighters can't get the doors open, so they have to bust in through the top of the elevator. Their welcome entrance nonetheless sends shrapnel down on the waiting crowd.
Watch your eyes, guys. There's screws everywhere, too.
I'm still
going up?
Hey, can I have it?
Yeah,
you can have it. We don't want it.
Hey, we're trying to help.
They somehow squeeze a ladder into the elevator and send everyone up one by one. The YouTuber misses his movie but is glad he no longer has to spend another moment stuck in that cramped space. Who would win in a swamp fight, a deer or an alligator? You're about to see. Published by Hazy Season in June of 2019. This scary video was captured at Squaw Creek Reservoir in Glen Rose, Texas. At first, the fisherman thinks he's looking at a huge fish.
Look at those. What is that? Is that a dead fish?
But as he gets closer, he realizes it's a deer in the water. The deer is no longer alive and it's being pulled down into the water's depths.
Looks like a deer, dude. It's a dead deer. Holy
by something that is so far unseen. The crew is wondering what's gotten hold of it. They watch for a moment and soon realize a gator's got him. They then let nature take its course.
Dude, what happened? Did it just like fall down this hill? Holy.
Although we probably all could have guessed that the gator would win this battle, I'm sure we were all rooting for the underdog. Alone at night in an empty school? Nothing to fear, right? Wrong. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Bartholomew Blackwell. The Redditor states that he was working solo in a school that was shut down and empty when he heard a sound in the hallway. The power had been put out by a storm the previous night, and with his flashlight on, he started recording. What he heard was haunting. In the dark school hallway, you can hear a faint wailing. It doesn't sound like anything recognizable, although Blackwell noted that to him, it sounded like a group crying. Some in the comments say that perhaps it's wind, or maybe even the Doppler effect of a vehicle of some kind, moving past the school at high speed, noting that he too thinks it could be the wind heightened by a lack of power supply noise. Gus2155 admits, as someone who is a custodian at a high school, I've heard some strange noises, but nothing like that. Some think it could be a hive of zombies, others suggest a water pipe is running, or a backup generator might be starting up. At least we know Blackwell got out alive. Thank you so much for getting me to 30,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 40,000 subscribers next. Thank you.